Good morning, Facebook crowd. It's Jillian. Jillian, I'm from Vietnam, though I was brought over here from the Vietnam War and to American couple, to an American couple that used to live on the East Coast and moved to the West Coast and been living here ever since 1974. So I'm as American as you can get. Been exposed to everything in America, all the different politics, religion, and science, the educational system, rebelled like any good American would do. I love America, and America is the greatest place on earth, along with the West and anywhere else where they allow innovative thought. Good day, you're very tired, John. All right. Oh, good day, friend. Sorry, I thought I said good day. Good day. So it's interesting. I was on my, last night, I was, oh my God, this is so funny. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to say this. So last night, it just dawned on me, it was actually yesterday afternoon, it dawned on me that I was thinking about Christina Morris, because Christina Morris, awesome lady, like her energy and her, just her balance as far as knowing her boundaries, which someone, in her position with what she believes in, which is fine, doesn't always know their boundaries, and she knows her boundaries, and she's awesome. So I really have taken to her, and I've been watching her and helping her as far as just supporting her passion for getting better, getting well, and reversing her issues. And so there's several people on my Jilly Juice that I do watch because I want to make sure that they're going in the right direction, and that I also can figure out, what I need to modify based upon their feedback. And so, like John, I figured out that salt was putting him in a cured state. I mean, he wasn't aging and he wasn't getting any younger or growing any hair, but maybe we don't know if he is supposed to have hair. We'll figure it out. He could be Vulcan. Okay, so I figured out that salt was putting him in a cure and that he needed to get off the J juice so that way he could finally feel the environment, because I felt the respiratory issues. I felt all the different headaches. I felt a lot of stuff, and I have been off the J juice for a while. I think I did 2 little shots when I was feeling the COVID, but that was it. I wasn't doing waterfalls, left and right all the time, every day or every other day. Okay, I finally did get off the J juice because I felt better and I wanted to feel stuff. I was tired of resetting my body to equilibrium. Okay, I wanted to actually eat the food supply and feel something. So then I was thinking, okay, Christina, you're not in a diagnosable condition where it's like aggressive, where you're in the hospital. Yeah, you're dealing with stuff like we all are, right? I mean, everybody's dealing with something, but you're not in an aggressive thermodynamic state where you have to be doing J juice like a cancer patient. Okay, so she doesn't have cancer, then, okay, you have a chronic condition, like someone says like SLE, but again, that's just a chronic condition that, obviously reset your body, do a few waterfalls, but eventually you want to get off it, right? Do you necessarily want to plateau? Not really, because how long is that going to take? It could be short. You could plateau and feel great, but you're still in the same state. See, that's the danger of a very powerful cure like salt and water and J juice, is that it's such a powerful cure that it will freeze you in the state you're in, not literally, but kind of keep things on an equilibrium. The third law of thermodynamics is everything is at zero. Now, not literally, but you have to draw and make those abstract connections that, yes, even though they're talking about like temperature, you're not going to be at 0 degrees, but it means that it's microstatic. It means that right now, if you keep doing J juice, and maybe she's doing a lot, maybe she's doing a little, but she needs to get off it. I don't know how much she's taken. I didn't ask her. But you don't want to be at a microstatic state on a continuous basis, because guess what? The law of thermodynamics says it's always entropy. You always have to keep countering. Okay? So it's either like you're in a cured state, but either you're going to evolve. So you only have 2 directions to go. You're going to evolve or you're going to devolve. Okay? So evolving means you have to then feel the evolution from the new viral programming, feed your body. Guess what? Acid balanced with alkaline. Now, I've heard about acid and alkaline. Everyone's drinking these freaking alkaline waters, right? And John, again, I have to hand it to you, John, because when I knew this stuff in the back of my head, but I didn't make the connections yet again. Not that I didn't make the connections, but put it together. And so when you guys reflect back with your actual substantiated concepts, not your freaking emotions and shit, he mentioned about the salt, right? And he did an actual, like, definition. It's alkali. It's an alkali. It's a very powerful alkali. Okay, that's why people were losing hella weight on the J juice. That's why I was losing hella weight. Because I was staying away from the meat, the milk, the cheese, and the eggs, everything. Well, not the eggs, but I was staying away from all the sugars and the carbs and the fats. And I was doing mostly J juice and fruits and vegetables. And guess what? I was super skinny. Well, I wasn't feeding my DNA. And guess what acids do? They promote your DNA, like, replication. And so when you have mucus from the meat and the milk and the cheese and the eggs and the ice cream and all that stuff, which I eat all, right? My husband drinks milk and he eats bowls of cereal. But I eat cheese and I eat whipping cream and all that stuff. But all the mucus stuff, all the stuff that the acids is your DNA building blocks. It's what actually regenerates. But you've been weaponized against the mucus. And so I'm going on my Facebook, on my business page, and this guy from Norway, he's like, we're the smartest people in the world. Your salt is poison and you're supposed to only modify your meat and your milk. And I mean, he was just, you could probably even like picture his chest was like out and he was thumping his chest as if he was like, I don't know, some Viking god that think he owns the world. And I'm just like, oh my God, such ethnocentrism that I dealt with on my Facebook. And I deleted it and I blocked him so he can't see anything, because I'm going to let him have his belief system and he can be the smartest guy in his little world for about, I don't know, maybe 80 years, if that. So anyway, so he was saying all this stuff and he was angry facing, which, okay, his name is SIG. So you can see him on my business page, cigar something. And he angry faced on my pinned post. So you'll easily find him, because I deleted his comments. And then I posted that article for Tatiana, as he was saying that, so she was looking for a productive cough. And so that was last night, because I tagged Tatiana in the same post of, talking to Christina Moore. So she needs to get off the J juice and actually feel. She needs to feel not just COVID, but she needs to feel all retroactive evolution. And it's going to be painful. Yes, I can't help that. You have back-to-back issues. You must deal with them. So if you're not in cancer or you're dealing with a stage 4 cancer, get the odds Stewart, get off the J juice. Like, seriously, all of you need to get off the J juice if you're not dealing with a diagnosable, life-threatening condition. Okay, so I tagged Tatiana and she was saying, I'm still kind of under the program of avoiding food and all that stuff. I have a cough every day, but it's just not productive. Like, it's very dry cough. I'm like, oh, shit. And so then I'm like, you know what? I don't know what she's eating. I'm not asking her what she's eating. So this is what I did. I posted an article and I looked for all the articles that are against food, because everything in the holistic industry, they're starving the crap out of you. So I remember the alkaline and the acid, and everybody in the holistic world are all afraid of acids, right? So that's why they're so skinny and nothing to them. And I found an article that I said, hey, what foods bring up mucus? Because I knew mucus had DNA, and that's why I posted the definition of mucus. What's in mucus? It has lipids, has fats, it has proteins, it has, everything that supports your DNA. But why people have an issue with the mucus is because they can't expel. They're on low sodium diets and their body's trying to regenerate, going through the viral programming from their environment. So it gets caught up in their lungs. They're cough, they get infection. They have big tummies because they're keeping mucus in their colon. And so there's that balance of alkali, which is the salt, that helps energize and keeps the electrolytes and everything moving and breaking up, coagulation where it's so thick that the body can't seem to move it through. And that's why people get heart attacks and strokes, and why they have infection, lung issues, and why they have cancer and all of that, because they're not releasing the old viral programming. So when I know in the mornings, I get mucusy and poop, and I get mucusy because overnight my body's doing a regeneration. When I eat certain foods, yes, it's mucusy. Okay, sometimes I drink soda, I get a little mucusy. I just spit in the sink and that's it, or spit in the garbage, or spit in a freaking tissue and throw it away. but that's all recoding. And so then, so I posted an article about all the 21 foods that bring up acid, which rebuild your DNA. And then they have 21 foods that help, control acid, which you don't want to use which some of them have been used as remedies to mitigate symptoms, right? Break up your mucus, right? But at least probably most of them in those controlling acid foods are foods you'd want to eat anyway, like tuna, fish, and other stuff. And so you'll see that article. So I posted that article, and of course a young lady had to go and angry face it, right? Of course, because she was trained by the medical holistic industry that you stay away from foods. And so I'm like, okay, so here's the thing. This is why you guys are all dying and starving, and you're either too obese or you're underweight because you don't have any balance and you're not bringing salt in your diet. And I'm like, okay, so you stay away from the meat, you stay away from the milk and the sugar and the eggs and the vegetables because they're all GMO. I mean, what's left? Oh, fruit and nuts. I know fruitarians. They're full of candida. Okay, I know people that eat just fruit and nuts. And you try to get them to eat food like meat. Oh no, they're politically against it. You're like, okay, here's some soy. How much freaking soy are you going to eat? And so when you're that underweight in our society, you will not have the covalent bonding. You will not have the intelligence to energize because you don't have any DNA to you. You see why people in China, in North China, they're bigger. Well, maybe you don't. But I remember when I went to China, I visited the North and the South. The Southern Chinese people were all eating their steamed foods, their dim sum. I love dim sum. Okay, but they're eating their dumplings and their steamed vegetables, and everything is steamed, not too many sauces, right? It's all like these little appetizers. And then I go to northern China where it's colder, right? Over there in Beijing and the Great Wall, and it snows, maybe some points in the year. And they're bigger bones. Well, they're eating a lot of meat. They're eating a lot of, I don't know how much milk, but they're eating a lot of meat, a lot of heavy sauces, a lot of, the sugar in the sauces. They're bigger because they have more meat to them, more DNA, more strength, more insulation, so they can handle the environment, the weather. And so, yeah, in hotter places, people have been trained not to eat too much because it's too hot to eat. No, you need to eat more when you're in a hot place because you need the insulation to cool you off. When you weigh next to nothing and you're in a hot environment, guess what the environment's going to do? It's going to cannibalize you and turn you into a raisin or beef jerky. And so I was raised in a household where, yes, salt was off the table, sugar was off the table, hardly any junk food. I didn't get the luxury of freaking Twinkies and Ho-Hos like all my friends did. So I was always trying to see if I could, hey, I was always a little beggar. They used to call me a little beggar in school because I was withheld food like Ho-Hos and all the fun foods. It was only a peanut butter jelly sandwich, an apple, and milk. That was my meals every single freaking day. You wonder why I rebelled so much in that household. When I couldn't even go and get food I want, everything, I had to ask for the food. You can't get food, and if I wanted if we wanted a snack, it had to be like apple snacks. Okay, so food was withheld from us as children. Not all food. They were giving us, vegetable, our chicken and macaroni and cheese and, our dinners and the vegetables and maybe get, some ice cream for dessert. But if I was hungry in between, I could only have an apple or a banana in between meals. And so I remember when I finally left home, I ate a whole freaking pie. Okay, because I could. It was an apple pie. And I took that apple pie because I was in some freaking, some wilderness camp thing where we had money and I got to go buy something at a grocery store. And they're like, hey, get whatever you want. And I'm like, I'm going to get a freaking pie. So I got an apple pie and I ate right out of the center of it. Okay. And I would not ordinarily be allowed to do that. Oh no, it's like you have a tiny little slice. And so, yes, I was raised in a family where they had food like you couldn't have enough food really. I was always hungry. Yeah, I came from a starving. Yes, they built up my protein. I was given high protein cereals, but I was always hungry, always. And so that's the fight for survival when you are in hunger mode all the time. And it may not be like, yeah, they didn't like starve me and put me in a closet like some households do. But you find out 10 years later they were doing that to kids. But when you're withholding food from your kid because you're in this political starvation, you're withholding DNA regeneration. You're withholding intelligence from, and that's what keeps people very easily controlled, is when you politicize food against them. When you take their gifts and you weaponize the person's gifts against them, then they don't want to eat food. Then they turn into anorexics. They turn into political, oh God, the animals. Yeah, it sucks. I'm sorry, the animals. They did that back in the Indians where they would go and kill the buffalo. Are you going to fault the Indians? Okay, you vegan and vegetarians that are politically against freaking eating meat, as you are eating only grains and soy and, I don't know, fruit, and that's it. Maybe a few nuts, and you're like, 10 feet tall, weighing 125 pounds. You really think you're going to survive this freaking atmosphere? But that's what's going on in the medical holistic industry. So you have people who are leaving salt out of their diet, and so they're blowing up, or they are, adding a lot of salt to their diet, and they have hormonal imbalances, and they withhold food from themselves. They can't eat any meat. They can't eat any milk. They have only 2 or 3 ingredients that they eat. And so they weigh next to nothing. And then they look like the crypt keeper. And that's why you see grandma and grandpa, it's either Job of the Hut, so sorry, but I'm going to just paint you a picture. Job of the Hut, or you're going to have the crypt keeper. You choose. But that's how everyone goes out in our society because of the fact that food has been weaponized against them. They are laying off of the sodium, all that stuff. And so, yeah, you have no choice but to accumulate. And then you train your body to keep holding reserves because you haven't trained it. The body can't trust your intelligence. So what does it do? It goes into defense mode. So it either burns so much where you have nothing on your body, or it stores so much. And then you go and starve the body. Then the body's like, holy shit. And then it starts cannibalizing your vital organs. Then it starts turning against you because you want to look cute. Because you don't know how to balance your food and balance your body. You don't understand pain. And so it was very telling. And I'm like, when someone's angry face saying meat and milk and cheese, I'm like, you're against salt. You're against sugar. You're against meat and milk and cheese and vegetables. You want to eat local. Oh, that's right. You become a breatharian. Oh, that's right. Then we have the energy healing people. It's all about being a breatharian. Air sandwiches. See, you don't realize how much of this stuff has been politicized for freaking years. They've done this number on the population for centuries. It translates to my mother, and she's a silent generation. The silent generation. So they've been doing this number on people for freaking years. And now it's time to freaking wake up. Now I sound like a freaking conspiracy theorist. Now it's time to get back to reality. It's time to live. So anyways, that was a great connection about alkaline and acidic. Acidic is what rebuilds your DNA. Alkaline is just to make sure that you don't freaking blow up and look like, Jabba the Hutt. Okay? And that's why I say to you guys, once you've done a lot of waterfalls and you feel stuff and you feel stuff, then it's time to get off and actually deal with your autoimmune disorders and feed your body. Get the poop out. But, I salt, my husband salts his food like no tomorrow. And he looks at me when he does it too. So he won't do the JJ's, which is fine. I get it. He won't do the JJ's, but every time I make food for him, and it's all high sodium anyways, and it's all processed food, which is great, right? But he still puts salt. And I'm like, cool, put salt on it. Okay, so you need to put salt on your food to energize your food so it can do its DNA. And then what do? You cough in the morning, you poop in the morning, you drink a bunch of coffee and cream. Get all the mucus going. Get your immune system going. If you keep doing J-juice, you're going to turn yourself into a freaking beef jerky. And you put yourself in a cured state. But, if people don't want to feel pain, they'll use J-juice that way. And so, yeah, because you felt COVID doesn't mean that you actually are turning on your immune system. Because let me tell you, There were people that experienced respiratory stuff way in the beginning of in 2020, and I didn't. You know why? Because I was probably in a cured state, but I felt the headaches. I felt, all the other stuff, but I only experienced the respiratory was in May, June, and July, or June and July. And it had an interruption in my periods. So, you guys need to experience the respiratory side of this. If you haven't experienced respiratory side of this, then you have not really trained yet and turned on your first line of defense, because you're still relying on your second line of defense. But even that's going to work against you when you keep relying on that second line of defense, because the first line of defense is supposed to mitigate the second lines of defense, as well as, yes, you don't want to ever feel the third line of defense, which is cancer, disease, chronic illness, and autoimmune disorders. So it's time to get off the J juice. And you've been around for a while, guys. It's time to get off. None of you, except for a few, are dealing with actual cancer. Maybe one person that I know is dealing with actual cancer, stage 4. And that was the video I posted the other day. Every one of you just have a chronic condition. You're not in hospice. Because if you were, you'd be like, I'm this is my last hurrah. But only one person, this is their last hurrah. Every one of you needs to start feeling the evolution and stop using J juice as a cure, because it will work against you. So good luck, you guys. Eat all the food in the food supply, feel the mucus, feel the pain, get it out, do the poop, drink the coffee and cream. I love these chocolate Starbucks and cream nitro cold brews. They're like my favorite. So yeah, and actually this actually it has the chocolate. Yeah, chocolate. Anyway, sorry. All right, talk to you later. Bye.